Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jaren İskit, and you are watching What's New, What's News. Yes, we are on a break now. It's we call it Bayram break, Eid break in Türkiye and all the Muslim countries, of course. And that's why this week I wanted to do something more lighter, a little bit entertaining, lives. Paul was supposed to come on Tuesday. We planned everything, but unfortunately, he had a sudden health issue, so we couldn't make it. But finally, today we will discuss his story, actually, how he did come to Türkiye, how he discovered Turkish cuisine, Turkish food, and so on and so forth. So I don't want to wait him longer. Let me invite him. Welcome, Paul. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me. Today we will actually talk about your story. It is a little bit interesting for us to find out a person who moved to Türkiye and decided to live in Türkiye and also discover Turkish cuisine. Not only Turkish cuisine, of course, but that sort of thing. How did you discover Istanbul and how did your story begin?
Well, I first came to Istanbul in 2007 when I was 19, and I hadn't really left the United States. Before that, we were in Egypt. But when I first saw Istanbul, I remember just kind of falling in love with it right away, particularly while walking down towards the South Campus of Boğaziçi University and seeing that view of the Bosphorus. I still remember that very vividly. So I always thought Istanbul was a place that I could see myself living in. So that's what ended up happening, and it's been in total about 14 years now.
This is amazing, actually. I mean, yes, of course, we all fall in love with Bosphorus scene. I live in Ankara, but it is always a pleasure to be in Istanbul all the time because every time you discover something different and I don't know, the atmosphere is slightly different in Istanbul comparing to Ankara. But you have a Twitter account now and you are quite popular on social media as well after you started sharing the discovery of the restaurants, some Turkish food and that sort of thing. What was fascinating you the most about Turkish cuisine? What sort of things that you mostly like?
Well, first, I guess I should mention that for me, what's most important for me is not the food itself, but the people and the place and the story behind the food. So, coming from a journalist background, when I started writing about food, it was never from the perspective of a critic because I don't think I have a particularly refined palate, or I'm no expert. So I only write about places I like, and I would only write about stories that I found interesting, what does the food tell about this person's history and how they came to Istanbul from a different part of Anatolia. So I started writing, actually. There's this website, Culinary Backstreets, that you probably know about, and I've been writing there for about 9 years. And sort of the theme with the majority of those stories is not just the food, but the people and the geography and the region, the place, the culture, the story behind the food. So with Twitter, that kind of got a bit different because most of my writing is in English. Most of my articles are in English, whereas most of my tweets about food are in Turkish, and that was obviously to appeal to my followers, which probably 90% at least of which are Turkish. So that was interesting because I noticed that I could actually sort of help small businesses that way. Like I would tweet a place, and then it would get 1,000 likes or whatever, and then the next time I'd go in, the owner would be like, "We've had people coming in because of your tweet, thanks so much." And that's kind of the main motivation. I mean, it's fun for me to discover different places throughout, not just Istanbul, but also throughout other cities in the country. But yeah, it's the motivating factor for that is just to kind of help these esnaf and these small businesses that I think are doing really, really good stuff and making really good food.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What sort of stories that fascinates you the most? Actually, do you have any kind of memories that you remember? Because we literally made the joke while we were talking about who were telling you some sort of Allah'ın something, but I don't remember the tweet now. But you witnessed some sort of funny moments as well when people discover you. Actually, can you share a little bit more about that, maybe?
Yeah, some people are like, oh well, who are you to talk about this or whatever, and it's like I get that. On Twitter, it's like no matter what, you can post a photo of like of kittens and people will get mad at you. So I guess for me as like being from an outsider, and sometimes I'll post my a recommendation and someone will get mad about it, which is it's fine, whatever. But yeah, it's most of the feedback is good. I think a lot of people tell me
Mhm,
that they follow the recommendations and they've enjoyed what they've tried. So
mhm, mhm. Yeah, and what sort of dishes that you mostly prefer? Maybe because 9 years is quite a lot of time, actually.
yeah, so again, if you look at my Twitter, it might look like I'm just eating meat all the time or like kebab and doner all the time, which is not necessarily the case. Like I definitely try to a few times a week at least, um, try doner kebab köfte places. So I won't deny that, but I don't actually eat as much meat as people would think. I don't cook it at home, for example.
Mhm, mhm,
Um, like I very like my I do like to cook, but I rarely cook meat because I was actually vegetarian for a long time. My mother is vegetarian, so I grew up eating vegetarian food. I was vegetarian myself from the ages of like 16, 17 to 24. And it was actually after a year in Turkey that I stopped being vegetarian. Um, so it was Turkey that broke that in a sense. But I would still say that my favorite things are vegetable based, like meze and like zeytinyağlılar. Those are still my absolute favorite things. I'm very simple actually. I appreciate the more simple things. Like for me, the ideal thing is just like a rakı sofrası, like give me 3 or 4 different meze and some, green melon and some white cheese and I'm happy. That's my ideal.
mhm, mhm. And what sort of desserts that you like the most? Because this is another important thing in Turkey. Actually, when we talk about, we love speaking about food. Uh,
Yeah.
I I'm sure you observed that as well. The minute, even with the rakı sofrası, or with mezes, while you're eating, you're talking about food in Turkey. It is kind of a maybe a passion in Turkey that we're proud of, because we have Gaziantep, we have Hatay cuisine, we have different parts of Turkey as well. Of course, sweets and desserts is the one that we proud of as well, because we have baklava, we have different kind of sweets, like other sütlaç, maybe rice pudding, let's say in English. So what sort of things that when you first arrived in Turkey, what sort of hospitality that you had, and what people were so enthusiastic, showing you of this food and this kind of things, and that sort of things. What was the story behind that for you?
In terms of desserts, I have to admit I'm not really a dessert guy. I don't have much of a sweet tooth. Having said that, obviously there's such a rich dessert culture here, and there are some things that I do like. I do like sütlaç. I like
Mm,
tavuk göğsü, which is, for those who don't
mhm,
know, is this interesting sort of thick pudding made with shredded chicken breast, which sounds weird at first, but when you try it, it's actually not weird. Apart from that, what else? I like irmik helvası, ayva tatlısı. I like, yeah, I
mhm,
like. I mean, of course, I like the really kind of intense classics like baklava and künefe. Obviously, those are delicious, but it's not something I crave all the time. It's a bit rich for me, but I do appreciate how deep the culture of dessert is in this country.
Hmm. How about coffee for you?
Yeah, well, I used to work at a coffee shop back in the U.S.
Hmm.
So I used to be a real big coffee guy. I like Turkish coffee, of course. I don't drink it very very often, but it's something that I like to have when I'm offered it. I'll never turn it down.
Hmm.
Um, but I've sort of cut caffeine out lately. Like it's not something that I drink every day like I used to for many years.
Yeah, it seems like, because I have a lot of foreign friends as well, especially from the UK, and when I remember myself, when I make them Turkish coffee, it seems very strong for them to drink that coffee, because the texture is completely different. And uh, yeah, I don't know how to, maybe describe that sort of taste, but it is completely different, of course. And mostly foreigners doesn't like Turkish coffee that much. They prefer, filter coffee or Americano, latte, that sort of thing. So, but it's great to hear that. Maybe we can speak about the latest discoveries that you did. Maybe you may have some, recommendations that recently. Where did you go in Istanbul, or any kind? I think you've been in Hatay recently, or because of the
Um, I
columns
was
that I read from you. But yes.
Yeah, well, I was in Hatay last year. I worked from the earthquake zone for a couple weeks.
Hmm.
I haven't been back, unfortunately, since last year. I wanted to do some more reporting, but I just didn't have the funds to do it. The last time I was there, it was just I kind of rushed there the day after the earthquake and did a lot of reporting from different cities. Of course, food became a part of this. The last story I actually did was from Hatay, and it was about this was in, I think, late April of last year. It was about small businesses and restaurants in the Uzun Çarşı, in the old part of Hatay, that had started reopening amid all of this destruction. And one of them was this place, Vitamin Kebab, which they specialize in tepsi kebab, which is like the signature kebab of Hatay. And yeah, just a couple months after the earthquake, even though they were sort of surrounded in wreckage, they opened up again. And as far as I know, they're still open, and I hope they're doing well. And in terms of recent discoveries, it's almost hard to keep track of. I recently wrote an article for Aposto, which is for Apero, which is the food magazine of the online portal Aposto, which is a Turkish
Hmm.
publication. And I wrote it in Turkish, but I had previously written about this area, which is called Küçük Antep, or Little Antep, in Güngören, which is a suburb of Istanbul that not most tourists would never go to, or just wouldn't find their way, because it's kind of a bit outside of the off the beaten path. But that area is known for having a high concentration of restaurants serving cuisine from Gaziantep, which is considered like the culinary capital of the country.
Hmm.
So I recently was there, and I did a story about some of the best places to go to have Antep style food. For example, there's a place that serves beyran çorbası, or some people
Yeah, yes.
would actually say it's not a soup. It's like a meal
No.
itself. It's like this very spicy soup of like shredded lamb and rice that's like topped with like just butter and like garlic and your red pepper, like very spicy red pepper flakes, and it's served in the morning. And usually it's kind of tough to find a place outside of Gaziantep that makes it properly, but there's this place in Güngören in Little Antep called it's called Hakoğlu, that does it really well.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Is it? It's in Istanbul, right? Because I don't know all parts of Istanbul that much, so that's why I wanted.
Yeah, the place is Hakoğulları, and it's in
Uh-huh.
in Little Antep in Güngören.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So this is the recent recommendation for coming from Paul Osterlund. Then, well, now we're coming to an end because I don't want to take your time as well. When a tourist or someone who wants to come to Istanbul or Türkiye, what would be your recommendations for them to maybe this should be a must for them to when they come and visit Istanbul and maybe some parts of Turkey as well. It is all up to you. What would you recommend them the most that they should definitely do that, visit there, taste this, eat this, that sort of thing?
Well, if I had to choose one place, I mean, that would appeals to everyone. That would have to be Mahir Lokantası, which is here in Osmanbey, close to where I live. I mean, now it's become very popular, but that's for a reason. They specialize in mostly food from the southeast, where the owner is from, Diyarbakir, but also throughout different regions of Turkey. And the lahmacun is incredible. And pretty much everything there is just fantastic. And you might have to get a reservation or wait in a line, but to really try, I mean, it's really truly one of the best restaurants in Istanbul, and the owner is he's a friend. We're a really nice guy, so I'm kind of been going there for a long time, and it's something that everyone should try for sure if they come here.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
Yeah, apart from that, I mean, even if you don't drink alcohol, like I would still say that you should go to like a place and have some meze, and just try like a wide variety of of meze, of small kind of dishes that are based around olive oil or yogurt or cheese or eggplant, because that's really my favorite. Like I said, just getting 4 or 5 meze and some kavun and peynir and rakı. It's like that's for me is like the ideal. So that's what I would that would be the first thing I would do if I had returned to Istanbul after a long time abroad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Paul, I think it's a really interesting story. Who is coming, an American coming to Turkey and decided to live here. I mean, I know many people prefer to come to Istanbul, visit Istanbul, see around, taste the food, but your example is not that very common for Turkish people maybe, and for maybe the foreigners as well. So that's why I wanted to speak about that, maybe what was fascinating you. Is there anything that you would like to add before we close this discussion?
Yeah, I would just say that anyone who comes here, just keep an open mind, and just come on an empty stomach and check out Culinary Backstreets Istanbul for lots of great recommendations, not just from me but from other writers. And yeah, you won't be disappointed.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, and I highly recommend his writings, because it is very good to see someone who knows his food and prefers really nice places to recommend, and even some parts of or some places that you recommend, we are learning from you actually, Paul. So thank you very much for that as well, because I didn't know many places. But when you come to Ankara, speaking about Ankara Döner, next time please just call me. I will definitely recommend you some more Ankara Döner, which is famous as well, if you want to come and see capital of Türkiye. So we will definitely meet up soon. Thank you very much, Paul.
Good deal. Thank you.
Well, yes, today we just wanted to speak about food, because food is one of the most important cultural thing in Turkey, I would say, and it is really nice talk that we never get bored, because we speak about food and the new discoveries a lot, so that sort of conversations that we have similarity. Even now, Paul has been here 14 years, and he explained some of his stories as well. So yes, we finished this week. Next week, of course, we will come back to normal life. Turkey will the holiday break will be finished in Turkey, and we will come up with new subjects about Turkey's agenda. But till then, please do not forget to subscribe my channel, liking my channel, share your thoughts with me. It's very important. I am reading all of them and taking my notes. It is very important for us to be supported, especially independent journalists. So please do not forget to subscribe my YouTube channel and share your thoughts with me. Well, have a lovely weekend. We will meet up next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Till then, bye-bye.